comes from an exotic land, far east. He brings some Indian spice to our meeting today. So I invite Naresh. His speech is message delivered, so deliver it.
Thank you. For once, I probably will not disappoint you. I will need some help, please. Well, very good evening. Simi called me up yesterday at 6 o'clock, around 6 o'clock, and he wanted to confirm the speech, and I said, I have no speech. Right? And Discovery Channel came to the rescue. I should apologize that it's the 8th project, so I should have a visual aid and a prop or something. I just have a visual aid. So I'm going to need your help. My second proper visual aid would be your imagination. Okay? Because it's kind of a time travel. We'll see. Why National Geographic or Discovery came to the rescue? I was watching a program yesterday where somebody in Bosnia claimed that a huge hill was a man-made pyramid, much older than Egyptian pyramids. And when it was a Mao, it would rewrite history books. And then the experts came in, they went to the museum, they figured out that they looked at the tools excavated from that area, and they found out that at that age, at that era, with these tools, man just couldn't make a pyramid. In other words, what I also interpreted from that was that actually the men who were living at that time and who developed those tools were probably sending out a message saying, hey, it wasn't me. Please. And I want you to move to a different place. India, so again I'm not disappointing you. This place is called Sahyadri Mountains. Yeah. This is the picture now. There are hidden caves in these mountains which were built about 600 centuries BC. Next please. That's the close-up view, pretty much not like the Taj Mahal that we're knowing of, but it is exquisite. And the reason it's exquisite is because when you actually enter the caves, it's not just any other cave. Please. You find the Sistine Chapel, a prehistoric one. Of course it's in ruins, of course it's not in the best of conditions, but they are intricately painted ones. And imagine this in that prehistoric era, in the middle of what is the forest now, imagine what it would have been then, was inhabited by Buddhist monks, and they made these paintings on the caves. The way they did it, it's just a marvel. If you could just move on, please. This is the intricacy of the painting. 2000 years old, still preserved. The cave is all dark, there's very minimal light in there, and that's the way how they've done it. It was rediscovered about 2000 years ago. Whoever painted this, did they do this for their entertainment, or was it a message? We will never know. Just about 30 minutes away is this masterpiece. Majestic. I've been there when I was a college student, and when there's a small gate just near the garden. You don't see all of this grandeur from outside. It's all covered with rock. It's like one big mountain piece. As soon as you enter, you walk back into time. All of this is carved out of one single piece of mountain rock. And estimates are that it took them about 100 years to carve it out. I could show tons of pictures around it, but this kind of gives you the grandeur and the scale of what's going on. What it also does, because it's a religious place, it's full of carvings of Buddha, and what it also does is it gives an insight that even 2000 years ago, India was multicultural. You find Buddha there and some other disciples, but you also find a beautiful carving of Shiva, who is a Hindu god, different religions, all in the same facade. Everything, probably they lived together at that time, we don't know. But the message at least which I get when I look at it, is, wow, even then we were multicultural. Let's look at it now. 2000 years or even more, if we were to deliver our message, what do we do? And what are we currently doing? I actually have another thought. All of our lives, messages, untold stories are in this bite-sized silicon chip, isn't it all? What if there were to be a catastrophe, man-made or otherwise? Now imagine what would whoever, maybe the few survivors from the Amazon, maybe they would have seen it, or maybe somebody from an extraterrestrial planet. If they came to our planet, which is completely devastated, and dug, what would they know about us? What we know 2000 years ago? Well, would this seem like a family portrait to them? If they dug it out and if at all it survived? Most of it is probably going to be wiped off. Or, please, if we were to, they painstakingly put in a lot of effort in putting in instructions. Maybe was this for their own entertainment? We don't know again, but this is what we do, and this is probably what they will take it out and try to figure out, my goodness, is this a temple or what? We don't know. Just think about it. These monuments or these gadgets which we use in our daily life would all be props. Fossil records. What would they interpret? Are these toys? Are these, I don't know. There are a billion Coke bottles, dug underground every single day. Maybe they'll think this is our currency. Just a quick thought. So, in a nutshell, how will we tell our stories? How will we deliver our messages? Will they be actually delivered or not? Or when they actually dig in, our layer may be completely wiped out, and they may go and dig in only things which are preserved really in stone or wood, maybe about 2000 years ago. And our civilization may just remain like an untold story. We never know. So, what do? Head off to the latest cave and start making footprints and fingerprints in there to make sure that our message is delivered. By the way, this is the oldest footprint, 40,800 years ago. Fingerprints, sorry, not footprint. So, here's our thought. Who's coming to K? They're closing next week. Thank you very much.